That Show, starring Joan Rivers. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Joan.
A lot of you are probably wondering what I'm doing on the runway. And if it's not in an airport. And it's because we're going to be discussing burlesque today. And with us, we have Sherry Britton, who can certainly show us how to strip. She was on the all-time greats and still is. And Vivian Vance, who wanted to learn as long as I wanted to learn, right? Did you ever do a striptease for your husband? You devil. That's I didn't either. That's because Edgar's very, very proper. You know, he's English. He wears pajamas with vests. He's so proper. He even thinks it's indecent to take off weight. I mean, that's, you know, where we're at with Edgar. And when I first got out of college, this is really true, I used to work in strip joints because I wanted to be in show business, and not as a comedian. That was after they looked at me. But originally... But you have to choose your theme song, and I used to strip to Little Things Mean a Lot. But, I tried to be long, because you want to be like, you know, part of the group. I used to wear a G-string over my dress. And the only trouble was I didn't have a gimmick. And in burlesque, you know this, every act has to have like a specialty or a gimmick. For example, there was a big, tall girl, like they named her Alice the Amazon. She used to wear pizzas for pasties. That was her gimmick. Yes. It was a sight. Then there was Ugly Irma. She was the world's ugliest stripper. Her gimmick was she wore 7 veils over the puss. And then there was Helena. Her measurements were 66, 24, 31. You know what her gimmick was? She'd crawl on stage and try to stand up alone. My gimmick was I would come on nude and the men would scream, "Put it on." But I guess burlesque is pretty much dead now, you know, don't you think? And you know, that's because you've seen one stripper, you've seen them both. And you can't blame people, you know, they don't go that... Yes or no? Yes or no? I don't know whether to stop... No, that's no. I knew it was no. I just wanted to confuse the back. But we were talking backstage with Sherry, and I was like, what do old ex-burlesque queens do? You know, there are a lot of these queens around, right? They all became hairdressers. I've been looking forward to doing this show for almost 2 months now, and I'm delighted when we said, let's do a show on learning how to strip for your husband. Who should we get? And Edgar said, let's get the best in the business, and we did Sherry Britton. And so I wouldn't be alone. I said, let's get somebody on that will have a good time with me, and we looked for a comedian who is a good sport and a good actress, who's now on Broadway coming in, and we got Vivian Vance. That's the...
What's this for?
That's the microphone.
Oh, good.
Did you ever work in burlesque?
No, my mother wouldn't even let me go at the hotel. But I've seen it, and I love it.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it again.
It's a great training ground.
Wonderful training ground. I worked with lots of comics who worked in burlesque. One of the greatest comics in the world worked in burlesque. Then when I was in New York, I used to go see Phil Silvers and Rags Ragland.
I was their straight woman.
Were you really?
Yes, at the Gaiety Theater it's now the Victoria Theater at 46th and Broadway.
And you worked with it? Because I started in burlesque. I wasn't kidding during the monologue, but I had a different name, Pepper January.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, didn't Comedy and
Burlesque.
Spice. Well, like strip joints, which was a little different, because burlesque, you know.
Quite different.
Because there are a lot of burlesque. When do they start closing? 'Cause you've gone into nightclubs.
Yes, February 1942. I sat at the Eltinge Theater on 42nd Street waiting for the midnight show, and I'm still waiting for the midnight show.
And that was
Never
it.
went on. That was it.
And you had no idea that this was going to happen?
Well, they had closed previously in 1937. And then they had let them go again, and then they got worse and worse, and the women were showing more and more until they finally closed it up for good, 1942, until I opened it again, or a version of it, mock educational version of it, at Carnegie Hall in 1957 with Tom Poston as my top banana.
Would you think Tom Poston?
No, I never
Well,
knew he did burlesque.
he had never done burlesque. We trained him, and he was just spectacular. He was so delicious. He was marvelous.
What is your gimmick? We were talking about gimmicks.
Actually is my hair. I've always had very long hair, and at one time it was down to my ankles. And it's the most provocative peekaboo material you can use is hair. Oh, it's wonderful.
You and I are in trouble already, Vivian. Peekaboo. What's your gimmick, Vivian?
Well, now let's see. Just coming around and listening to these, really, one of my gimmicks. One of the things that's always been so wonderful for me now, working with Sherry today, I've always stolen just a little bit from everybody I worked with who was good. I always stood in the wings and watched the big ones go. Even when I was an understudy, when I was in the chorus, I was always in the wings watching the big stars go and practicing what they were doing. Now I don't know how far I'm going to get with this.
Oh, be my guest. Be my guest.
When you talk about the big stars, oh, I knew this was going to start to happen. Hurry up and don't move because we're right back after the commercial. They put my hair on too soon because I'm not supposed to wear my gimmick till later. This was originally somebody's wig, but I don't know whose, Lassie's. But we were talking before. Vivian said that you used to watch the big stars and copy. The stars in burlesque, do they have individual trademarks? Like, does a big girl walk a certain way? Does a small girl walk?
Oh, yes.
Show us everything.
Well, first I have to tell you, you see, I was very tiny. I was only 5 feet tall when I came into the business, and I was 13 years of age. And, of course, also 38, 18, 33. Well, I was big for my age. Now, let me tell you, you see, now, if you were very tall, you had to parade. You had to do it in this fashion. You see, very elegant, somewhat like a showgirl. But now, if you were very tiny, such as I was, and nobody knew that except the people backstage because I've always looked so tall, you have to be very itsy-poo, wee, wow, wee, this kind of thing. And then there'd be somebody like Georgia Southern who was in between, and they were the slinky type, you see. Now I think that
Vivian's tall, yes.
She should be, no, let's put her in between and have her be the slinky type. And
Pure
you
sex.
Pure. Ravenous sex.
But I want to tell you, the last time I put these gloves on, I was going to the opening of the opera.
Oh, sure.
We're all going to do a strip in a second.
And then you must do the itsy-poo.
Yeah,
All right?
I'm always
It's
playing
become-
itsy-poo. That's what kills me. That's, how did you work your hair? You just would like throw...
Well, I always had it up. And with about 2 pins, and then at some marvelous moment, you see, I'd let it down, which it was in a braid, and then brush it, and let somebody from the audience brush it. A man, preferably.
Yeah.
I've never
Or
had
a woman
lady brush.
in pajamas and a pipe.
And then I'd get rid of the, while I was getting rid of my gown, I'd get rid of the brush, and then I'd use my hair to dance with, which I can't do now until I take the gloves off.
Vivian, did you ever do your own nightclub act?
No, I worked in nightclubs, but I just sang in nightclubs. I've never been a stand up and do my own type show.
Yeah, because
somebody has to write for me, and then I get up and do it.
Because I know, like, when I write my own comic material and someone steals a joke, you go insane.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
if someone stole, like, your gimmick with the hair, would you have been upset?
Well, there was such great rivalry amongst all the women in burlesque because just how much can you create? How very different can you be? And at that time, there were 17 burlesque theaters in New York alone. So you can imagine all the stripteasers that were employed, or whatever you'd call it, all over the rest of the country. Now, there'd be such with the actual physical fights. Because they'd stand and watch one another in the wings and say, you stole that move, you stole that gimmick, you stole my way of... For example, now, I invented panels. G-strings are little triangles that you wear it's a tiny bikini. And I have knock knees. So I invented fringe or chiffon that went from there to the floor, from the G-string to the floor, and then I knew that my legs looked fine. Well, in 2 minutes flat, everybody was wearing panels.
I had to start a panel up here. You know, what is this, Vivian? Do you know what that is? Pass it to Vivian.
Well, I could guess, but I really know what it is. So I'm not going to say, but I could guess an awful lot of things. But it's pretty.
May I tell you about it?
Yes, this is a pasty.
I'm fascinated
This
by that.
is a pasty. Looks kind of like a little dunce cap, doesn't it? Only it doesn't go on your head. It goes somewhere else. Now, for a young lady who is not particularly well endowed, it makes much ado about nothing, you see. Now, this happens to be a very fancy one, and they don't make them this nicely anymore. They're usually sequins, and I can't wear them because my hair gets caught in sequins, and you can have an accident that way.
And I bet people wait.
What an accident. Don't let us get our hair caught in our pasties.
Would you? I had that trouble all the time. Would you show us, Sherry, would you do a strip for us and then Vivian try one? Would you?
All right,
I
but
can't wait.
I'll tell you first, yes. Please, Jim, put me in the mood and give me
right.
the typical burlesque, and just with an announcement, ladies and gentlemen.
And we want applause and we want recognition, but no touching.
All right. Okay, here we go. Now we proudly present the intoxicating rhythms of that international burlesque star, the passionate and provocative, the daring and dynamic, the one and only Miss Sherry Britton.
Oh, that's it, Jim.
Is that
You see, first you must take off your earrings so they won't get caught in the buttons of the jackets that your husband wears. Next comes the gloves. Are you watching very carefully,
Yes.
girls?
Oh, we have to learn this?
Sure, you
Yes,
can do it
you
next.
do.
It's a whole new career for you, Vivian.
Why do they always did this? I have no idea. I don't think it's at all sexy, do you?
There's one man foaming at the mouth, so...
See, the only reason you take your gloves off, ladies, this isn't for the gentlemen. So you can make nice on your husband with the hands, you know,
That's sexy. Put it in your mouth, right? Pulling the glove
Yes,
off?
supposedly.
Yeah.
Next comes some of the important stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
Take it off, take it off, take it off.
I hear you call.
Take it. Well, I'm not a man in the audience, though. Take it off, take it off, take it off.
Oh, that's playing like peekaboo, right?
Oh, yes, you must have peekaboo.
It's a lot of boo there. Oh, that's great.
There.
All right, do Vivian.
All right.
Now, what do I
Moving
You're
along
gonna
with
do a
our
strip.
parade of tempestuous beauties, we present the adorable and exciting star of two continents, the girl with the $1 million body, the fiery and fantastic Miss Vivian Vance.
There it goes.
Slinky. Slinky.
Did I go to dramatic school for this?
Come on, Vivian, sell it.
Now, what am I supposed to be?
The gloves,
Tall or
Miss.
in between? Oh, I... Very provocative, just a glove. Nowadays, I don't think you'd get very far if you just took your glove off. The Broadway shows are worse than that. Does
But
this
I like
do
your
anything
style.
to you, dear?
That's very good. You never did that? That was very good.
And now the management takes great pleasure in presenting the voluptuous and exciting star of the show. Here she is, the girl with that captivating body, Miss Pepper January.
You're hired. You're hired. You're marvelous. You're also coming apart.
Is that good? Is that good to throw?
Marvelous. If it doesn't hurt, it's good to throw. Now, how about, does anybody want Miss Rivers' autograph on these?
Oh, is that what they
Stole
do?
your line?
Oh, no, is that what they... No, that's wild. They used to throw beads in the... Did you ever get back
No.
what you threw?
No, you got back a lot of other things, but no, you threw
I won't throw it if I don't.
roses. Pardon me?
Anything I throw is coming back.
Oh, really?
What you would throw what? Would you ever throw anything out to the audience?
Oh, apples or
Apples?
roses. Myself? No, the only thing I threw were bows because I'd wear bows snapped on instead of pasties. And I'd take them off and throw them. Of course, I only had 2 to throw.
I hope.
Yes. Now, stripping for your husband, you know, moving the bedroom manners into the living room is just an absolutely marvelous thing. And I want to give one illustration. I have taught many people to do this. For example, Jean and Jerry Plachette, who are Suzanne Plachette's parents.
Yes.
Many, many years ago, before she was born, I taught Jerry Plachette, that's the wife, to do a strip, and I gave her a costume. Now, they've been married over 30 years. They have an absolutely wonderful marriage. It adds spice. Oh,
Is
it
the
really
costume
does.
shredded?
No, what do you think happened after I taught her to strip?
Yeah, they obviously had Suzanne, I hope.
Yes.
That's fun. No, but if I strip for Edgar and it takes a long time, he'd just fall asleep. Yeah. Wake up, I'm stripping. Later. During the commercial, strip during the commercial.
Then you've got to keep it exciting.
I know. Are you married, Vivian?
I'm very happily married to a book publisher, and I can't imagine what we say. Vivian, what'd you learn today? Wouldn't that be a surprise?
Yes.
But you should be provocative in your marriage, I think.
Well,
You've got to work at it.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't have
really.
to. I don't know. I don't have to twirl my gloves. Very happy marriage, just the way it is.
Maybe you've got other tricks.
I think if I twirled my gloves, I might not get to do these daytime shows.
But it's funny with Edgar, like every once in a while I go out and buy a very sexy nightgown. And I got really like a winner at Saks. And he said to me, I come out to the bathroom, and he said, you look 11 years old. You know how that hurt you?
Oh, that's bad.
Yes. Because I have my
10 years,
undershirt
you'll
underneath.
love it. You know, Sherry, when I first went in show business, I was dressing with the chorus girls. They also not only wear pasties, but the little things that they wear underneath, you know, what do you call them?
G-strings?
No, the things to make you look a little larger. That I never had to buy one, so I don't know
Oh,
the
you
name.
mean falsies?
You mean these?
I dressed next to a girl who was doing needlework, and we were down under the heat pipes when I was a chorus girl. She was doing needlework. And I kept watching her absolutely wide-eyed because as she did a stitch, she'd put the needle in this. Oh, great. And then I discovered she used them as pin cushions. So I
Oh, it hurts to
Doesn't that hurt?
What do you think about topless now? Do you think topless is any art to topless?
How can there be? Whipped cream before the meat and potatoes is
Yeah.
ridiculous. And it's just there. You know, it's like seeing the end of a baseball game or the end of a football game. You go there to see the game played.
Yes.
You don't go there for the end or the score. You might as well pick up a newspaper and get the score the next day.
You know, I was out in Hollywood doing a show with Lucy about 3 weeks ago, and I always love to look at all the new ads on Sunset Boulevard. What are they doing this year on Sunset Boulevard? Because it's always wonderful. My favorite one is up now, and it makes you think a little. It is Topless Hypnotist.
What do you stare at?
They don't use the watch anymore, I'm sure. But that's what it says, Topless Hypnotist.
We'll be right back after this break, so don't move. Topless. Hi. I'm going to ask some questions because I'm in the mood. Who's got a question? Oh, isn't that cute? You're holding the glove. No, keep it, darling, you devil. That's up. Yes.
What does a girl need to be a stripper?
What does a girl need to be a stripper, Sherry?
Well, strangely enough, she doesn't even need a good figure. What she needs is kind of an exciting personality, some way to present herself to the audience that excites them. And when you have this, well, that goes for anybody in show business. You say
Why are you
no?
going no?
What
No,
do
I
you
mean,
think?
I won't. All I've learned today, I'll never be able to use.
You may get a whole new career going out of this. You don't know.
I think I probably burlesque will come back from some of the Broadway shows I've seen.
Do you think so, Sherry?
No, I don't think so, because unless you present it so that it has entertainment as its great value now, it can't come back. It's been done in too shoddy a fashion. I've traveled with my own show, Gems of Burlesque, for 3 years, but I present entertainment rather than filth or nudity, and that's the important thing.
That's why a lot of people don't come. No, I'm teasing. I just want to say one thing. I'm watching you on the monitor. I don't know how old you are, because you said like you were around for a while. You look at that. Does she look magnificent? Does she photograph like an 11-year-old? Just like a boy.
Thank you.
You look great. Just
You're
great.
a darling. Thank you.
I wouldn't say it, if it wasn't so. Who else has got a question now that I've made a friend? All right. Hello.
Oh, what do strippers do in their spare time?
Get dressed. What do strippers do?
They buy things that they can undress with. They spend all their time designing costumes.
Do you buy your own clothes, Vivian, or do you design?
Oh, no, I just go out and buy them. My husband picks out most of my clothes.
Really?
Because I like his taste better than mine, so he picks out most of my clothes.
He married you. You had good taste. Right? Think about that.
Thank you.
Right.
That's nice. One woman applauded. That's very sweet. Yes.
What do strippers drink between shows?
Well, I happen to drink milk.
Peel's beer.
Well, that's having it both ways.
No, I imagine you had to be pretty steady on your feet. Don't you think when you're going down a runway?
Oh,
and
I've
you
seen lots of them absolutely ossified. I don't know how they do it. I don't drink. But I've seen a lot of entertainers. I don't know how they get by.
Yeah, sometimes you're shocked. That's
Well, they show a little bit. Let's forget about that.
Yes. Questions. Uh-huh.
Do you miss burlesque?
Do I miss burlesque? No. Yes, because I never really got a chance. I've seen it like once, and I'm sorry it is gone because of the skits, which were fantastic.
the skits.
They're classic skits.
Marvelous training ground for comedians, not to be believed. Today you can't do it because you can't get on TV and fall on your face and never get another job.
I don't know. I can mention some names, but do you miss it at all?
No, because I went on to other things, Joan. I've done 48 shows, which I absolutely adored, because I had it as a training ground.
Yes.
I don't think that I'd have been as good an actress or as easy with the public if I hadn't had the training of burlesque.
I want to say goodbye to Sherry Britton. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
A pleasure
Joan.
to have you on.
Thank
and
you.
Vivian Vance,
Goodbye,
delighted to
darling.
meet you, and you're just great. You got a whole new...
And if you'd like to see the show when you're in New York, write Joan Rivers tickets, Box 850, Radio City Station, New York, 10019. Miss Rivers' guests stay at the Hotel Commodore while in New York.